And I'm your host, Dana Migliore. How are you today? I hope you are well. Let's just take a moment to get centered. Just relax your body however you are right now and take a nice breath in and a slow exhale out. Thank you. So, today I really wanted to bring up something I talk about quite a bit because I want you to understand you're born with a gift. You're born with many gifts. But the one in particular I am talking about is internally within you, and it works as your guidance system in, this thing we call life, coming here on planet Earth and living out and being this creator we were born to be. So, this gift I speak of is your emotional guidance system. Because if you're not aware about it, you have a non physical part of you. Some call it the soul, your higher self, your higher consciousness. But there's this non physical part of you that I like to call your inner being that resides in a different dimension. Okay. This being, this essence of you lived before you in this body. It's with you here and the now and on earth here. Okay. And it's going to be what lives on after this body is no longer. Okay. So this emotional guidance system, and why it's so important, why I'm bringing this up for you, is because this is what's going to help you create your reality. This is the number one thing you can utilize to start understanding what you are manifesting and what you are creating in your life. And it's so simple, but we don't really think of it that way because, first of all, you might have never heard the term emotional guidance system, me explaining that this is non-physical part of you. It's kind of getting in depth and a little bit advanced, right? But in reality, it all has to do with everything about your emotion. And so when we live life and we see things happen and we go day to day, we do get distracted. It's easy to get distracted. I was distracted most of my life. I think I stopped heaning to my internal guidance system, even though I didn't know it was called that when I was younger. I felt like I was really in tune with that guidance. And then somewhere probably around age 12 to about, I don't think about till 28, I really reconnected with this internal guidance system. And since then, I completely changed my life in a 5-year radius of tuning to my inner guidance system. This is like the number one thing that I use to understand what I'm pulling into my attraction. And so you can use this too. This is a gift you were born with, amongst many others, right? And so I really want you to understand that you can utilize this to create your reality. Yes, you can utilize this to create your reality. And all you have to do is just care about how you feel. Tuning to yourself and asking yourself, instead of focusing on the context of what's happening in your life or what the context of the thought that you're having, how is it making you feel? Because that is your ultimate guidance, whether you're pulling something in towards you that you want or you're pulling in something towards you that you do not want. How do we distinguish that difference? Haven't you ever said, like, I wouldn't create that? People who first start realizing that they do create their own reality, think about the things that happen in their life, and they're like, I would have never, like, asked for that or created that. I didn't do that. Well, this the number one thing that we need to start doing is accepting that statement that no matter what has happened, horrible things, semi-bad things, good things, amazing things, you've created it. And it's all by your vibration. And your vibration can get really messed up from childhood and what you would experienced or what your surroundings were. But we allow that to happen because we might not know any better at the age that we're at. And then we carry this vibration with us throughout life. And so until you start realizing that you can control your vibration, you can change your vibration, and changing vibration can feel awkward in the beginning because you have so much momentum in one of the frequencies and one of the vibrations, right? However, you can completely change it. And it all just repetition, repetition. I love Tony Robbins for the fact that he says repetition is what is required. And it's so true because you have to do something again and again and again and again to really start gaining momentum, to create this new frequency, to create this new vibration, which will start pulling in the people, the places, the circumstances, the experiences that you want to experience. And so, again, how do we do that? You use your emotional guidance system that's internally within you since the moment you were born. And you start caring enough about how you feel. It could be as simple as somebody didn't do the chore that you asked them to do, and now you're staring at that mess, or you're staring at that thing that's not done, right? And while we're doing that, we don't feel good inside, okay? And so obviously there's reality where we are going to have to pay attention to our 3D, okay? And in this scenario you are, but I'm using it as an example to give you that idea of that feeling when you see that mess that somebody said they would have cleaned up, they didn't clean up, now you're staring at it, right? Or whatever example you want to use where you're going to look at something and get out of your vortex. You're going to get out of the natural abundance of frequency that is your birthright, right? Haven't you ever heard that when people are like, abundance is your birthright? Well, what they mean by that is that you are born with a natural high frequency, okay? I love the analogy that Abraham Hicks used with the cork. Like corks of like a wine bottle, they float on the water. Okay, well, you are naturally floating with your frequency. The only thing that pulls that down and buries it underneath the water, which in this example is negative emotion, what we don't want, pulling in things into our experience that we don't want, is by looking at that mess and activating that irritation, that energy within us. Okay, that pulls your cork under. Now, let's say I just I can't control it. I'm going to let it go. I look out the window and I see a beautiful bird, like a blue jay. And it's so beautiful to look at. And I'm appreciating the nature. All of a sudden, your cork will start to rise back up and float. Okay. So again, be cognizant, be aware of how long you stay somewhere. Obviously, we are reactionary beings. Okay. We're going to react to things. But how long do you stay in that reactionary state? Because after about 30 seconds to a minute, it's no longer reactionary. Now you're carrying that with you. Now this becomes your state of being. Now this becomes your dominant vibration over time. And is it a good frequency to have one of your dominant vibrations? Is it a good one to have? If it's anything of anger, frustration, boredom, depression, feeling unworthy, feeling annoyance, all of these low-end vibration emotions, we do not want be our dominant vibration and energy. Okay, we want our dominant energy to be one of abundance, joy, bliss, appreciation, ecstasy, passion, that amazing feeling, right? We want it to be more dominantly there. It's not always going to be 100% a high frequency. Life is ebb and flow. You're going to have dips, ups and downs, okay? That's just how life flows, okay? However, you can start realizing if you are majority of the time unhappy, if you're a majority of the time annoyed, if you're a majority of the time angry, if you're a majority of the time, I don't want to live my life or even be up, so I'm just going to sleep all day. If that's where your energy is at, it's changeable, but your dominant vibration is so strong and has a lot of momentum, so it feels like it's impossible. Now, how do I know this? I know this because I personally had, if you look at the scale of Abraham Hicks, which you can grab in my Ascension workbook, And I teach you how to use this skill, to use this method to communicate with your internal guidance system. I explain it all in there. But I was at the lowest emotion, which is a really deep depression, feeling unworthy for about 10 years, really, really there. Okay. So my dominant vibration was really bad. And there was peaks where I felt joy. There was peaks where I felt laughter and felt lighter and allowed, some resistance to release, but majority of my dominant was there. So a lot of my experiences brought me more of that emotion. Now, what that emotion was trying to tell me is that my inner being, this non-physical part of me that lives in a different dimension but is with me in the here and now, and everything I look at, everything I have an opinion on, everything I do, so does this inner being. And when the opinions don't match, it results in negative emotion. It's resulting in negative emotion to alert you that it's to change your direction of focus and energy, because they see it differently, right? So when you're feeling negative emotion, I used to wallow in it and I used to stay there. And that's why the momentum got so strong and I carried it on for 10 years before changing. But you don't need to carry it on 10 years. If you frequently check in with yourself and really think, why am I feeling the way I am? Maybe I'm feeling the way I am from something that happened to me 5 years ago, 2 years ago, a month ago, but I'm still carrying that with me. Is that a feeling I want more of in my life, more of in my experience? Do I want to create more of that? If the answer is no, you need to get off of the subject. You need to stop thinking that every time that comes up, and it will, because of the energy, because of the momentum, because how the law of attraction works, it will. And your job is to just go, there it is again. There's that thought. There's that energy that I got going on. Now I'm going to purposely go watch something on YouTube to make me laugh. I'm going to purposely call somebody to tell them I love them and I appreciate them, and raise my vibration through gratitude. I'm going to journal about what I'm thankful in my life to raise my vibration. You have to figure out what is doable for you, because everybody is different. If I told everybody just to journal, not everyone's going to journal. But it doesn't have to be journaling. It has to just be something that takes you off of the subject and puts you in a neutral energy. And gratitude is going to do that every single time. And so what grinds my gears is when someone's like, I don't have anything to feel appreciation for. Oh boy. So I know that they're really far on the other end of the spectrum. So I'm not mad at them, but I'm like, absolutely you do. Absolutely you do. There's always something that we can appreciate, even if it's just being able to breathe the air that we are breathing. Do you ever think that there's a shortage of air that you're not going to have to be able to breathe? No, because a part of you already knows that that is abundant. But when it comes to something like money, you don't think of it the same way, right? Because your beliefs about money are different. How you make money is different, And so when you start to really analyze those and start changing those, how you make money can change. The amount of money you can make can change. So I really want you to understand that all it takes is self-awareness. And if you're not an active meditator, if you're a novice meditator, that's the correct term I'm using, means you don't meditate at all, or not really frequently, or don't try it a lot. But meditation is what's going to help you change your life, because meditation will allow you to gain more self-awareness. And it doesn't have to be one of those meditative states that you sit on a pillow and close your eyes. It could be a meditative state where you're just focusing differently. And I explain that again in Ascension Workbook. I call it my 5-minute meditation, because that's all you really need to start shifting, is doing that daily for 5 minutes, and you'll gain self-awareness. Especially if you do that for 2 weeks straight. 5 minutes, 2 weeks straight, yes, you have that. If you don't have that, then I don't know how you're going to create your own reality. you're just going to live life through luck and default. Whatever happens, you're going to regurgitate the vibrations going on. And that's fine, because I've lived most of my life that way, and a lot of the public and a lot of the population does as well. But if you really want to be a conscious creator, and you want to put your hands in the clay, you want to mold the energy, and you want to make creation, manifestations, you want to just know that you can do it, then this is where you start. Now, if you're already really active at that, and you've manifested many things in your life before, but maybe you've hit a halt in your life. Maybe you've hit a certain point where you're like not really getting anything else that you want. That's an alert to you that you have some beliefs that are blocking you. You have some frequency and energy you're carrying into your state of being that you need to realize and change. So doing that is just, again, frequently asking yourself, how do I feel? What played in my mind to make me feel that way? Again, is that something that I want more of? I don't care if it's true. I have a lot of people respond with, it is true. It's true, Dana. This is what's happening in my life. I understand that. But the more you share that with me, the more that you talk about that, you are giving it energy. You are giving it life. And I understand you have to talk about it to a specific extent to tell me, what's going on in your life. But be aware, because not only are you speaking it here and there, you carry it with you energetically. Why is it sometimes you just feel exhausted, but you haven't done anything? It's because you have this energy with you that is heavier. It's a very dense energy, and it's taking from your natural cork. That cork, that's funny, you're pulling it down. You're pulling that cork down. So you're going to feel it. And so we want that cork on the water to naturally float. And doing that, just, you got to start caring about how you feel. You got to start tuning in. So if you use your emotional guidance system, now you understand what you're pulling into your frequency. And there is a gestation period. Just because you've had a pissed off moment for 10 minutes doesn't mean you're going to manifest something that's like bad, right? But you want to be aware, because the longer you hold it for, you will end up manifesting something that's going to make you feel a similar feeling. It's going to come in a completely different way, but it's going to have you. Here, I'll give you a prime example. Back in 2019, before I went on my Bahamas trip with my significant other at the time, we've been only dating for like almost less than a year at this point. We wanted to book our first, a vacation together. And I was visiting my nonno, which is my grandfather. Nonno is the Italian word for grandfather. And I was visiting him, and he said some really upsetting things to me. And normally I would have just swallowed my pride, and because I love him, and he's at that age where you can't get him to understand exactly where you're coming from, and I want our time together to be spent well. So I normally just ignore it and let him say his stuff. But it was about my significant other, and I was really offended, and I felt like I needed to stand up. So I stood up. I spoke my heart. I spoke my piece. And I don't think he's ever seen me like that. It shocked him. It shocked me. And this is the day before I left for the trip. So the day before I left for the trip, I had this huge regret. And I kept saying, no, why did I do that? No, why? Oh my God, why? Okay, so this is the energy and frequency I had going on. I said, okay, I need to let this go. I need to just enjoy my trip, but I couldn't. So the whole ride there, it's within me. The whole plane ride there, it's within me. It's really in my subconscious. So even if I'm enjoying what's happening, deep down, I'm still feeling this, I regret that I wish I didn't do that, and how hurtful it was. And what did I end up manifesting on that vacation is I broke my foot in the Bahamas. And no, I didn't go to the hospital or anything. I just trucked it out. So second day in, broke my foot. And the way it happened was hilarious. I don't have huge amount of time to get into this with you. But I ended up finding this parking lot that was not off the resort. And I had my iPod and I was dancing. Like, why did I leave the resort? I don't know. And I saw this bundle of, like, I think it was 2x8s, like, 2x4s are the skinnier wood. It was like really thick. It's probably about 100 pounds full of wood that I tried to jump over. And they ended up all toppling on my foot. And my exact feeling was, no, why'd I do that? No, 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 no. Why? Regret, regret, regret. And that was the exact emotion I attracted, but in a complete different way. So be aware of what you are feeling and what is going on within you, and use your emotional guidance system from now until the next week and watch how things shift and change. For more resources, grab the Ascension Workbook. Read for the first 10 pages so you have a really good understanding of how to use your emotional guidance system. The emotional guidance scale is in there that you can download so you can check what emotion you're feeling. It also prompts you on what questions you should be asking yourself to determine, is this really what I want to be attracting in my experience? So I highly recommend using that. Now, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, I'd love to hear from you. Share it in the comments. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the podcast if you haven't yet. I can't wait to show up next week and tell you more on how to create your reality. Did you like this episode? If so, make sure to subscribe to the podcast. Are you an expert at creating your own reality? Do you have a story to tell that drastically changed your life? If so, message me at Dream Creation Podcast on Instagram, and don't forget to leave a review.